Good afternoon, everyone. Arctic Circle Town, Russia hitting new record high. In the mainstream media articles referencing 0.63 above baseline. But wait, another temperature data set, University Alabama Huntsville, 0.54. That's a full degree Celsius difference almost, 9/10 of a degree. Look at temperatures in Siberia from 1880 to present. This heat event is not the first time it's happened. 1988, very similar to today, what we saw June 2020. They're running around, oh, it's a society-ending event. Well, society-ending event is 43 BC with volcanic eruptions taking down the Romans in 1177 BC when everything collapsed. And we sit right about here on the timeline, dropping into significant cooling. What will the US dollar look like once we tally up all the debt accumulated in this never-ending money printing fest by the Fed and all the central banks globally? Did you know it took nearly 8 years for the markets to recover after the 2008 housing bubble crash? Do you have 8 years to wait for the next recovery? With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee for life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. So we have two sets of information here that kind of dovetail into each other. The alarming signs scientists are worried about an unusually mild winter. Well, that was only part of the planet because a lot of it was a brutally cold winter. So I guess it's pick and choose. Parts of Siberia is where they're worried about. And over here on Copernicus, surface air temperature for May 2020, May was 0.63 warmer than the average for the 30-year baseline. And see, they don't tell you which data set they were using, but I'm going to guess that it was Climate Reanalyzer because that one runs the hottest on the web. So if you want to get a really hot temperature to put into your news article, use Climate Reanalyzer. Because if you come over here to Dr. Roy Spencer's site with the University of Alabama Huntsville, we find that May is only 0.54. So that is a full 9/10 of a degree difference between the data sets. Although they're both data sets, satellites, which one do you want to choose? And they include all these nifty charts in the article here. The problem is it's all model based. And the observations they're using are Berkeley Earth, which is also another hot data set. And you see the models, they diverge in reality. Why is one so hot running up into anomalies of up to 10 degrees Celsius above normal, and then the RCP 2.6 is running at the average? That's a huge difference between the two. 2 degree above normal or 10 degree above normal. Although the observed temperatures that we're seeing, Siberia did indeed hit that anomalous high. But heading into a grand solar minimum, we're expecting anomalous things to be happening across the planet, and we're definitely seeing it. So the spike of ice in Greenland during May and June, that's anomalous. The heat in the Arctic, that's anomalous. But these articles keep going on and on about the Arctic's heating twice as fast as the rest of the planet. Well, I'll bring you back to last year when somebody compiled all these different headlines that show Russia's warming faster than the rest of the world. Switzerland's warming twice as fast. Canada's warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. The mountains are warming twice as fast. The Adirondacks are warming twice as fast. Australia's warming up faster than the rest of the world. So basically, the world's warming twice as fast as itself because every place that they listed by the hundreds and hundreds of these copy-paste articles just replaced the name is warming twice as fast as the rest. So everything's warming twice as fast as itself. And then this article here is no different, talking about the Siberian town. Now, it's great that they do actually reference the 1988 heat event, which was 99.1 degree Fahrenheit. The new record that's set is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 degree difference. Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So I was able to pull up the charts here on a Russian site for that particular weather station up in Yakutia, which, by the way, Yakutia has had an enormous amount of record-breaking cold temperatures over the last 3 years. I encourage you to look up Yakutia record cold. They had early record cold and snow events over the last few years. And here it's a heat event, so it must be one of those hot spots on the planet like we see down around in Turkey and the Adriatic Sea. Appears to be another kind of really active, way above the normal in terms of precipitation, temperatures, etc. But you can see how the temperatures peaked at that 100 degree Fahrenheit and then they dropped right off. Well, 1988 was very similar. Also looking through the article here, the May Western Siberia surface temperatures, the anomalies. From December to May is a lump sum or just May itself. And this runs from 1880 on the left all the way to the present day where you see that spike was this temperature event that has been referenced. Notice how cool it was all the way until the 1980s. Now, the interesting thing here is the World Meteorological Organization is actually seeking to verify that reported record. So all this news coverage blasting around that this event happened here, they're still trying to verify if it was true or not. Now, United Nations is also stepping in to verify if it's true. So if they're still verifying if it's true, I just would hold on and be a little bit hesitant as a news organization to go out blasting this thing. Because if it is turned out to be a tie or not as high of a temperature, where's the retraction going to be? And do you think that'll make the front page news? We had to retract it because the record really didn't stand. I doubt it. But I encourage you to check out Copernicus, another data set, and the way they compile the information. It's a treasure trove if you're looking for this type of global or regional data set information. We might disagree on the temperatures, but at least they have a vast array of what you might be looking for if you want to compare temperatures. A peek at the global, and then it's really easy to see the peaks descending 2018, 17, and then we see a drop there on the global temps 2020. And then also monthly European anomalies, 1980 to 2020. Looks like the 1990s had a spike higher than where we are today. But as you're keeping all this in mind, how about the heat spike that occurred back in the 1940s globally? So this is the thing that was being lowered in the temperatures to make it appear that there's a linear trend up. So all those ClimateGate emails and whatnot, that was about lowering this 1940s spike that you're seeing here to make it a little bit cooler so that spike doesn't stand out as much. And that was the whole, manipulation thing was, well, they cooled that a little bit by a couple tenths of a degree and then padded somewhere else by an up tenth of a degree to make it look more smooth and linear like it's always been warming. But you didn't get this chart included. And this chart and jet stream analysis here of what causes cold or heat anomalies, equatorial vortex or polar vortex, 1975. So this is what they had for the scientific temperature record up to 1975. And then you can see that if you really do look for that, I encourage you, please try to find that 1940 heat spike. And good luck and go down the rabbit hole once you see that it disappeared. And a lot of the global media, not all, but a lot, then would go on and associate and continue to write their articles like this is a civilization ending event. And this one thing signals that our civilization is absolutely ending. And I would say they didn't study history very much because in addition to all the grand solar minimums that we know about, Maunder minimum, Oort minimum, Wolf minimum, etc., and the collapse of all the Chinese dynasties, let's go back to the well-known documented massive eruptions in certain volcanoes that, well, took down empires. Like the Romans, 43 BC was the beginning of the fall, and then once the late antique little ice age was in full swing, they were done. Couldn't grow food. Again, the migration of people, collapse of economy, 1177 BC, the rise of the sea peoples. So you can see one society collapses due to the lack of food production. If those that are able to have food, access food, store food, and transport food, they're going to be the winners in this. And this is exactly what we saw repeating in history. Because at the far right of the chart here, this is a geologic timescale in millions of years. Now that CO2 level for the last 5 million years up until that hook in the present day has been totally flat. It was flat for 4 million years. But how did all those ice ages occur and the spikes in heating? You see all that up and down, up and down, up and down? That's the Earth going into an ice age, coming out, and then reheating up some between 10 and 18 degrees Celsius difference, up and down, up and down, up and down. So if CO2 is the driver, then how was that flat for all those millions of years when we went through all these ice ages? Perhaps the sun drives the climate, or orbital eccentricity, or something that's vaster on a scale than we can comprehend. But for sure, the sun has a local effect on our planet, and we're stepping down into a 400-year low in solar activity, so you would expect weather events that are so far bizarre outside the ranges of anything normal, and we're starting to see that everywhere. So if we look at the Greenland Ice Survey Project data here, looks like we're going to continue down on the next cooling event, because if you come a little bit left and you see that dip at the line there at 1156, the collapse of the civilization referenced in the 1177 plethora of research matches that dip in temperatures. We're going into a dip in temperature too. Expect massive changes in society. And if governments knew this was happening, they probably put a bunch of distractions out there to make you not look or understand all this process. What if they want to stay in control as this all happens? What do you think? Please leave your comments in the description box below. And how prepared are you for emergencies as we enter into these unknown times? My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030, 2-week grab-and-go food crate, or the 4-week food supply. Storable foods for 25 years. And you can also use this as you transition into a more self-sufficient way of life. It's a great way to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.